Okay, I want to break down the video I made yesterday of rolling around. It was more for fun, holding my feet, wearing a distracting patch of jeans. This could be awareness to movement Feldenkrais lesson, and I would normally say it would be 2 lessons of 45 minutes, but I am going to just do it as quickly as possible without hurrying, meaning if you really want to get down on the floor and play, just press pause and say, oh, I've had enough for today, come back to it tomorrow, do a little bit more. Rolling is really important. It's fundamental to our development of our brain. We did it as babies. Most of us had the luxury of learning how to roll into sitting, rolling. And rolling, it's basically part of crawling, rolling, standing. It's part of our very essential brain development into interacting as a standing person eventually. And as we get older, the fear of falling, often, people start stooping, the hips are frozen, the ankles are frozen, and then people break their hips and it's all downhill from there. So I encourage you, no matter what age, especially 50s, 60s, 70s, to use the couch, get down on the floor, or even do this on your bed. Begin to activate already what's innately in your nervous system. It's somewhere there, it hasn't been totally forgotten. So what we would normally do in a Feldenkrais lesson is just lie on the floor and give ourselves a scan. And this can take anywhere to a minute to a few minutes. The longer you spend lying on the floor, paying attention to sensation and parts of you that touch the floor, parts of you that don't, comparing right and left. It becomes, in fact, in itself a skill to scan yourself. It's very relaxing, it's very meditative. And sometimes people close their eyes so they can really go inside and sense things. So for the lesson, if I choose my right leg, you can choose your left. I'm going to start and bring my legs to semi-supine and notice how the back changes. And if you can't reach for your foot, it's not something that you can hold, you can take a yoga strap or a sock or a towel. The idea is to create a constraint. So if your head and shoulders are really sort of doing like this to get the foot, I would suggest putting a few books or a spongy support, something so that your neck is nice and long. We want to keep the throat and the eyes soft. So here, like a baby, I'm holding my foot, not putting it in my mouth though, and I'm just going to play with sort of brushing my elbow on the inside and the outside of this leg. And it's interesting because they're paying attention to the hip and the tailbone and the pelvis, and also sort of has a kind of a slight microwave of movement being invited into my right side of my rib cage. Of course, I can look at the left side. There's something happening in the trunk and the torso as well. So that's the first leg. We bring it down, we give it a rest, and you may notice already that you lie on the floor differently. This hip may feel lower, the leg might feel longer, the whole right side of the face may feel different. It's good to pause. You can pause the video. And then we do the same with the other leg. If you're having difficulty reaching for the foot, you can just play with where you get by stroking the skin over the bone. Eventually, ideally without straining, find that foot, and the same thing, exploring the outside with the elbow. I am holding the foot with 4 fingers and a thumb, like a monkey claw. Holding the foot and exploring in and out what's going on in this hip. And this side might be very different from that side. So that's what I did yesterday very quickly in the video. You saw me do that with one foot and then the other. Take another rest, although it was continuous yesterday. And what's really nice, I just took a sigh, and that's my nervous system regulating itself and releasing something. I don't need to know what it was releasing. And then the third part of the lesson, I'm interested in taking both feet. So I have a choice, elbows on the outside, doing one leg at a time, in out with the elbow, holding both feet, and then the other leg. So it's a bit like polishing my outer arm and my inner arm with the leg, or polishing the leg with the arm. And then there's a choice of, how many different combinations do we have here? Brushing the outside simultaneously, and then the inside. The outside and inside, that can be explored. or it can be both arms to the right, over the shin, both arms to the left. So now, this configuration has a kind of wag the tail. My tailbone is wagging to the left as my legs go to the left, and my tailbone is wagging to the right when my feet go to the right. So the whole pelvis is kind of pivoting a little right and left, and that's interesting. And then it can go, and I can in effect right, right, left, 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 right, right, left. You can play with different combinations. So that's sort of quite intense because you're holding your feet and it's really getting the hips to learn different combinations, and the rest of your body sort of responds. The trick is to keep your throat and eyes soft and not to stiffen, and most importantly not to effort, not to strain, because there's no gain when you strain. All you're doing is creating more armoring, and it's very enticing to strain because sometimes we just want to be able to do something that we can't do yet, but we're really here to learn. So it becomes interesting where I'm holding maybe even just one foot and rolling to the side, bringing it back and forth. So I've got my arm on the inside of the foot and my hand on the outside, and of course I can swap here and play with just rolling, which means I need to soften my ribs, soften my shoulder, soften my neck, and let my head be loose. And the same can be done. You can take a little rest before changing sides, in, out, and extend. It's really nice because you get a bit of a massage on the hip and the ribs as you roll. You really got to let go of the head, let go of all the muscles in your neck, and let your head just sort of follow when it feels like it. So this part of rolling up to sitting, that's where the efforting often happens, because it's part of the brain and nervous system that doesn't feel familiar, so we kind of push through it. And you know you're doing that when you get a little bit of a jerk or a holding of your breath. And even when you get it right, there's always room for improvement until it becomes a smooth, continuous movement of rolling. So it's a bit of a puzzle. How do I roll to my side? Of course, do I have my elbows on the outside, on the inside? If I were to come up to sitting, what would I do? So if I have it on the inside and I kick away with this hip and it drags my waist off the floor, my ribs off, and then the head hangs. And I could, if I look down, get up this way, but it's a little bit restrictive. So I'm going to experiment having my elbow on the outside. And I go, oh, my knee falls to the floor. I can roll further to my tummy. Now there's an action here in my hips, my left hip. This is my left. I know it might reflect right on your side. My left hip tilts the sits bone to the floor, and that brings me up. And then it's reversible. So I need to soften, let the elbow come down, let the head come down. Soften onto the side ribs, onto the back. In the meantime, this knee is doing its rounds. It's very organic, and I'm back on my back. And I go, oh, okay, I'm going to try that again. I think I'm going to do this with the elbow on the inside of the knee and kick this foot gently away so it pulls the hip, which pulls the spine, which pulls the ribs, which pulls the shoulders, which pulls the head. And then the head must be heavy and let go of. That's key and probably the hardest thing for people, let go of that head. How is it going this way though? This way may be a little trickier. So the key is maybe to play where you feel you're not quite sure where to go. I'm bringing my knee forward towards the floor, back around the elbow. Find what's right for you, just be playful. And then there's that kicking away. So there's my right inner knee is rotating inward, foot to the sky, and that allows my hips to roll, because if my hips wouldn't roll, I would not be able to get up. So the constraint of holding the feet means that I have to figure out the organization of the spine, ribs, hips, and how the head is involved in not doing in order to come up. So that's the wonderful beauty about Feldenkrais. It's all about the mechanics and how everything connects, the neural pathways in your brain. It's not about being good, it's about being okay, about being bad and having fun with it. So there's the kind of rolling up to sitting lesson I did yesterday, picking up. Of course, I don't know if I can loop it on the video, because I video on a cell phone, leaning against the book, really unprofessional. So here, to get to the other side, I'm going to have to loop my knee around under my armpits, That could be tricky to come all the way around. Feet, loops, it's very much a contraction of the ribs, really letting your bones be like rubber, and of course everything could go the other way around, and it's a little easier for me on this side. I could also decide to change directions rather than doing a circle. So here we are as a baby, holding our feet and playing with rolling. So remember guys, just go audio a little bit, don't try to do everything, press pause, because that was probably 2 45-minute lessons done in 10 minutes.